Good afternoon, I'm Joe Vodvarka with this weather update on our major nor'easter. As you can see here, we got watches and warnings. Well, actually, they're all warnings now. Still one last area of watches near Boston, where they still have not yet gone with a warning. But we have ice storm warnings in Georgia, warnings in Carolina, Virginia, and even in our area. And let's go zoom into our area where we have warnings just about throughout the entire Delaware Valley and Lehigh Valleys. What we're talking about here is major snows. We have one area of low pressure here in the Gulf of Mexico. We have another area of low pressure here east of Savannah, Georgia, that is going to be taking shape. Both of these lows are going to combine together, and the low will deepen and get stronger. Let's zoom out here and take a look at the 500 millibar pattern that we have in place right now. And as you can see, we have our kicker way back here. We have our trough right here with the southern energy, and here's the polar vortex would be way up here. So our northern stream energy is going to come down. It's phasing. These two pieces of energy right here are going to phase together. This is going to swing through and start to come up the coast somewhere around Virginia and North Carolina, somewhere in that area. This is eventually going to close off. This 500 millibar vortex that you see right here, which is the energy for the system, it's going to close off somewhere. How fast it closes off will be key to how warm it gets, but the models this afternoon have been trending a bit colder. Even the 12Z European came in a bit colder. Let's go over and take a look at the European. And here on the European you will see that at hour 12 we have the cold air 850 line all the way down here in Virginia. We have some moderate to heavy snows on the backside of it, generally from Greensboro, North Carolina on west up into Virginia. And here comes the first light snow. This is around midnight tonight. So let's go to the next hour. And on the next hour you will see we have very heavy snow moving in right here around the morning rush hour. But I shouldn't say the word morning rush hour because there's not going to be a morning rush hour tomorrow. But you know what time that is. 6 to 9 a.m. We're getting very heavy snow. Let's go to the next frame, which will show you we do get a little bit of a lull. See, here's the low right here over Virginia and North Carolina, 992 millibars. And we still have heavy precip, but there comes a little bit of a lull. That's going to move in the afternoon, and I'm agreeing with this. There will be a lull, but the question will remain is, how far west will this dry slot get? It's possible Philadelphia is the very edge of this dry slot, which you will see in a minute. I'll show you why. It's possible we're the edge of dry slot. While at Jersey, it might be doing nothing. North and west, it could be snowing. Maybe a little bit of sleet mixing in. If you go back and take a look at all the great storms of the past, January 26th, 27th, 2011, President's Day storm in the early 2000s, 1996, 1993 we can't really use that. 1983 even can be coming up. There was a period of sleet in these big storms. Another one would be January 2005. That storm had a little bit of sleet mixing in. So it's not uncommon that these storms get so dynamic that they produce some sleet in the middle of the event. Now watch here what happens. That dry slot comes, right? You're thinking, oh, the event's over. It's tomorrow evening. I'll go outside and shovel. It's over. No, it's not over. It's not over. While it would be a good idea to go out and shovel during the potential lull tomorrow, just be prepared. See this? This is what we call a cold conveyor belt band, which I've been talking about. This comes tomorrow night. So now we're starting to get into 18 to 20 hours into the event. So far, we're up to 18, 20-hour duration on the Euro. This right here is some very heavy snow just west of Allentown. And this could shift east a little bit. A lot of times we see the heaviest banding, where the models show it, end up being about 25 miles east of here. A lot of the big storms in 2010 did have this. And a lot of the big storms in the early 2000s had this as well. Hour 48, it continues. Look at this. Cold conveyor belt continues. Philadelphia, moderate snow, heavy snow in the Poconos and the Lehigh Valley, very heavy snow in New York. Now we're at Friday morning. Now we're at coming into 4 or 5 o'clock Friday morning when it's ending. And it doesn't fully pull out on the European model. until 54 hours out, and then it's over New England. And it's got a 976 millibar low east of Maine. That is impressive. Let's take a look at the high resolution WRF model, and we'll wait for it to start up again. As you can see here, here's what's going on right now. We got a line of thunderstorms in Florida. There it comes. Look at that. Very heavy snow just plummeting through the area. And there's that dry slot. As you saw there, watch again where that dry slot goes. Here's Philadelphia, right where I'm pointing, right in there. The dry slot literally just stops right over Philadelphia. It doesn't get west of Philadelphia, so we're going to be the dividing line, whether we see a law or not. I think west of the Roosevelt Boulevard Route 1 corridor, no, I don't think you're going to see a dry slot. But if you get east of Route 1, over towards I-95 and whatnot, yeah, you're going to see a dry slot. So half the city could be doing nothing, say around between noon and 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow, while western part of the city, like Manayunk, western northeast Philadelphia, or southwest Philadelphia, could be some light sleet going on. So it's going to be a wide variety of what's going on here. And the shore is definitely in on this dry slot too. But at the shore, we're not going to be seeing a lot of snow like we are north and west. At the shore, what we have to worry about is flooding in two different aspects. One would be coastal flooding, because there's going to be persistent onshore flow of winds as we have the deepening bombogenesis of this low going on. And we're going to be having very heavy rain falling at the shore. The shore could see up to 2 inches of rain from this event on top of whatever coastal flooding comes. And I'm expecting moderate coastal flooding to occur at the shore. So be mindful of that. And plus, at the end of the event, it's going to drop below freezing at the shore. Dynamic cooling is going to take effect there. So whatever water does decide to flood, yeah, it could freeze, and we got problems there. Another thing that we have to be mindful of is some of the computer model guidance. I know the RPM model, which I was looking into early this morning, and even some of the guidance from the European model and the NAM model is suggesting we could see gusts of 45 to 50 miles per hour at the shore, with sustained winds to 30 miles per hour at the peak of the storm. That's going to cause power outages down there. On top of that, we're going to have sustained winds at the peak of the storm, 20 to 25 miles per hour inland, with gusts up to 30, perhaps even 35 miles per hour, points north and west of Philadelphia and in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. Add that to the fact that this is a heavy snow, yeah, we could see massive power outages again, perhaps even several hundred thousands, just like we saw last week. Maybe not 715,000 like we saw last week, but yeah, there could be a lot of power outages. And remember, we are limited on crews this time to come around and fix it. They got to all go down south now and fix what's going on in Georgia and whatnot. So the people here last week, they've already moved out. We're going to have to rely on a new set of crews, because remember, this storm is affecting all the way from Louisiana all the way through Maine and beyond right now. So this is a large storm. Let's take a look at radar real quickly. Anything north of Richmond is not reaching the ground right now. Anything south of Richmond is reaching the ground right now. So if we were to continue to progress this in the future trends, we would see that it would probably get here between 10 and midnight in the Philadelphia area. South of Philadelphia in Delaware, it could move in as early as 8, 9 o'clock. North of Philadelphia area, like around the Poconos, shooting more towards the midnight time frame. Now let's take a look at the infrared satellite loop. As you can see, this is a very large storm. We got the cloud deck that goes all the way deep into the Gulf of Mexico and stretches almost to Maine already. All this darker red you see down here, these are the higher, colder cloud tops moving into Florida, because they're getting a squall line this afternoon. They're getting severe thunderstorms. There's actually a severe thunderstorm watch from central Florida on south to just north of Miami. And there's already a special marine advisory just offshore there, which will soon translate into severe thunderstorm warnings for winds up to 60 miles per hour there. Let's take a look at the NMM model real quickly. We'll let it finish its loop here. And you will see that the rain-snow line with this sets up just east of the city. And then it tries to come over the city. That's the wild card. How far west is it going to get? How far east is it going to get? We probably won't know until the event is happening. Therefore, we'll be using other high-resolution models like the rapid refresh model and the high resolution rapid refresh model. We'll be using them to determine where that's just going to set up, because Philadelphia right now is the wild card zone. If it's just a little bit more east, well, our snow totals will be towards the higher end of my forecast. If it's a little more west, we're talking the lower end. So let's look at one last thing. Let's take a look at the North American mesoscale model real quickly. Let's take a look at vorticity, because something interesting I want to point out to you. And we'll advance this to hour 18. And look at that energy right over Philadelphia back to DC. That, my friends, if it was summertime and we were talking about surface parameters for severe weather in summertime, that would be off the charts. This is off the charts for Noreaster. This is very strong vorticity and instability, and therefore, because of that, we have a high chance of thunder snow right now. And in this type case, you could hear thunder snow, clap of thunder, more than once tomorrow. It's also possible you hear more thunder snow tomorrow night when the closed-off vortex passes through the area when we get the strongest energy of the storm. Let's take a look at the vertical vorticity real quickly. Look at this. Even the vertical vorticity is very impressive. This is around 7 to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So what will be happening during that time? We'll have 1 to 2 inches per hour snowfall rates across the area. Isolated areas could see snowfall up to 3 inches per hour just because of how strong the advection will be with this storm as it's pushing north. So let's talk snowfall totals. If you're at the Jersey Shore, I'm not expecting much snow. 1 to 2 inches of snow at the Jersey Shore, and perhaps 2 inches of rain, flooding, strong winds. So you come just west of the Jersey Shore, generally west of the Garden State Parkway on through to southeast of I-295. I'm going with a general 3 to 6 inches of snow. Isolated areas could see 9 inches. West of 295 and between I-95 corridor, I'm going with generally from 9 to 12 inches of snow, generally from Dover, Delaware, on up through to about I-195. If you come to the I-95 corridor, anywhere from Wilmington, Delaware, on up through to New York City, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Isolated areas just northwest of Philadelphia could see 20 inches of snow. And this area really stretches back to far west as the Lehigh Valley, maybe even up to near Hamburg area. There's going to be a sharp cutoff somewhere, but it could get as far west as Hamburg, Reading. And Lancaster, I'm going with a general 6 to 12, Lancaster, Harrisburg, on north and east. And if we go up to State College area, I'm still not expecting a lot out there, but there are some high resolution computers models that are trying to indicate higher amounts now and are trying to limit the sharp cutoff and expand it a little bit. So I am going to make a minor change there. I do think we could now see 3 to 5 inches in State College down towards Altoona along the I-99 corridor. So generally, Philadelphia, 12 to 8 inches of snow. The heaviest comes tomorrow morning. Potential for a brief lull with some sleet midday. And then the next round starts right back up between 6 to 7 p.m. lasting into early Friday morning. The city will be completely shut down tomorrow, and I would not be surprised if the city shut down again on Friday. Be safe. If you don't have to travel tomorrow, just stay home. It would be ridiculous to go anywhere tomorrow because we're talking a 24 to 30 to perhaps even 36-hour event. This is a long duration storm. So if you haven't prepared now, do so. Get prepared. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe Vodvarka. I'll have more nowcasting updates tonight and throughout tomorrow in a posting format.